In this tutorial, we will learn adding widgets to my dashboard, viewing alarm trend of my equipment in fault detail widget, drilling down to recipe step level in fault detail row level widget, selecting other subject wafers in fault detail row level widget. To use DFD, you have to add its widgets to your dashboard. Click dashboard icon to see your and other users' dashboard. Click the plus button to create a new dashboard. Click fault detail and fault detail row level in the order. Close the dashboard list. Using the dots on the right, you can go to the other open widget. Go to fault detail. In fault detail widget, you can find the point when the number of alarms increased in the chart and view the modules and wafers where the alarms occurred. By selecting the day when many alarms were triggered, you can view the alarm wafers and their scores. Select the wafer with highest score and drill down to fault detail row level widget. To select your equipment or modules, click the cogwheel icon on the top right. Select your site, fab, line, area, equipment model, and then equipment. In default x-axis, select the unit. You can either select latest for recent period or select user-defined and specify the period. Select hour, shift, or day for the unit for the x-axis. For each x-axis unit, there is the maximum period. For hour, the recent period for latest option will be a day, and also the maximum period will be 1 day. For shift, the recent period for latest option will be 2 weeks, and also the maximum period will be 2 weeks. For day, the recent period for latest option will be 31 days, and also the maximum period will be 31 days. In sync with, you can select the widget that will be linked with fault detail widget. Select fault detail row level widget. If you selected latest above, the option will refresh the chart in every as many minutes as you set. Click refresh icon to preview the alarm chart of your selections. With latest and day option selected, I can see the chart of 31 days period. If you don't see any alarm, select the period again. I'll change it to user defined and set the period. The period cannot exceed 31 days. Click refresh to see if there is any alarm. Click apply. In the chart, you can see the days when the number of alarms increased. The gray bars represent the number of wafers processed that day, and the green trend shows the number of wafers with an alarm resulted from the analysis of wafers within the lot. The blue trend shows the number of wafers with an alarm resulted from the analysis of last wafers from one or more lots. Please be aware that the trends do not represent the number of faults, but that of alarms at the point. For example, if you selected last and end within lot alarms in OCAP Manager, and there was a fault resulted from only one analysis method, it became non-alarm, which wouldn't be represented in the chart. Because of the period limit you set in DFD configuration, the last reference analysis could fail to retrieve data from enough wafers. The percent next to reference threshold is the minimum ratio of analyzed wafers required. The number of alarms coming from the analysis with more used wafers than the minimum ratio is labeled as full. and the number of alarms that come from the analysis of not enough wafers, labeled as partial. The results of analysis with 38 or more wafers will be labeled as full, and the results with 37 or less wafers will be partial. If you see end with partial next to %, that means the chart includes the results from the partial analysis. Click the text to open Filtering Fault Detail window, where you can set the options regarding full and partial analysis results. Enter the % in minimum percentage for full referencing. If you clear Show Alarms with Partial Referencing checkbox, you can hide the alarm results of partial analysis. You can also hide the alarms from certain context items or parameters from the chart. To exclude the alarms from a certain parameter category, you can select the parameter category and tick Exclude. Like this, you can use a keyword with a token to hide the results from the certain group of parameters. I'll click the highest point when the most alarms occurred to draw the alarm chart of the day by the appointment. In the table on the right, you can see the list of wafer scores. Click the tab to go to the alarm chart of the reference wafers within a lot and that of the last wafers. Click on Equipment bar in the pop-up window. You can click Module button to go to the module alarm chart. The wafer score list is refreshed for the module. Click or drag the table and click Sync button to go to Fault Detail Row Level widget. We are drilling the selected wafers down to the trace data level. We just selected the wafers with a high score in Fault Detail widget and sent them to Fault Detail Row Level widget. Here, you can find in which recipe step and parameter the alarm occurred. In the recipe step, you will be able to see the difference of the faulty wafer trend from others. And by learning which algorithm triggered the alarm, you will be able to understand more about the fault and its cause. On the top, you can check the period you selected in Fault Detail widget. You can see only the wafers you selected in Fault Detail widget, but you can select other wafers after turning off Only Show Selected option. If you turn on Alarming option, the list filters out wafers with no alarm. You can also see their trend chart. I'll leave them as they are. Category means parameter category. If you untick a category, its parameters will be hidden from the bar chart. Click filter icon to arrange the parameters in the number of alarms, either from within lot or from last n. You can reveal within lot alarm bars or hide partial alarm bars. Line parameters represent the alarms from within lot analysis, so make sure that you are seeing the charts in within lot tab. If the bars are blue, make sure you are in last n tab. This chart shows the trend data of this wafer in this parameter. The other trends represent the data of other reference wafers for analysis. Click Not Filtered to see how the charts are constructed on the combination of the items. The wafers were processed in this module and with this recipe. The data are of these parameters. Let's delete a parameter. You can see two charts with a combination of one wafer and two parameters. Click Filtered button and let's tick the parameter. In the arranging option, you can select A to Z to arrange the charts in alphabetical order or Z to A in reverse alphabetical order. Select Alarm Count 0 to 9 to arrange the charts in the order of ascending number of alarms. Alarm Count 9 to 0 in descending order. Untick Show References to hide all the other wafers but the subject wafer. The red trend means the subject wafer had an alarm. The unit of y-axis is the parameter value and that of x-axis is data sequence. The numbers on top represent the recipe steps. The step where an alarm occurred is highlighted in red. I'll click a point. The score on top is the parameter score, which is the highest among the step scores that the wafer showed in the parameter. Step score is the highest among the DFD algorithm scores of the step. Reference percent shows the ratio of the number of actually used reference wafers to the number of wafers set in compared to last n. Including the recipe step, you can see the context information and data sequence and time. It is the data value, and below you can see the score of each algorithm for the wafer. Among the algorithm scores, the highest goes to the step score, and the highest among the step scores becomes the parameter score. The highest among the parameter scores in the process becomes the wafer score. This means if only one of the algorithm scores exceeds the specification limit, the wafer is detected as faulty. Tick Show References to reveal all the other reference wafers than the subject wafer. Click the chart icon to see the legend. The subject wafer selected in Fault Detail widget will be color-coded in red or gray. Red means the subject wafer had an alarm, and gray means the subject wafer is without an alarm. Other reference wafers excluding the subject wafer are yellow or blue. Yellow means the reference wafer had an alarm, and blue means one without the alarm. You can untick the color to hide its wafers in the chart. If there are multiple subject wafers in the chart, you can click the check icon to hide or show them. Click the list icon to see the list of all the wafers in the chart in a table form. The wafer with N on the reference column is the subject wafer. Close Process Run List window. Click the magnifying glass icon to see the chart in large window. The current option is overlaid by recipe step and sequence. As you can see, the data points are arranged in sequential order, and the data are divided in steps. If you select Overlaid by sequence, the steps will be hidden. Overlap by recipe step and time and overlap by time option arrange the data points in order of time within the process along the x-axis. But if the data check-ins are irregular, the trends can be inaccurate. Process time is the original time step. This also can be inaccurate because of the irregular data check-ins. I'll go back to overlay by recipe step and sequence. You can select other wafers than the ones selected and synced from other widgets. Click the chart icon next to Process Runs to open Fault Detail Process Run window. You can see the trend of alarm events during the period, and you can select the high points to see the data of the wafers in the chart. After identifying which wafers are at the high points, At the Table tab, you can find the wafers and select them. Let's arrange the DFD last name column to gather the wafers you want to select. Tick the wafers. Click Apply. In Process Runs, you can see the wafers you selected, and on the right, you can see the charts that show the data of the selected wafers. In Parameter and Process Run mode, one chart shows the data in combination of one parameter and one subject wafer. In Parameter and Recipe mode, if there are multiple recipes selected, a chart will represent the data in combination of one recipe and one parameter. So you will see multiple subject wafers under the same recipe in a chart. In Parameter and Module, the chart will show multiple subject wafers that were processed by the same module. In Parameter mode, the chart will show the data of multiple subject wafers from one parameter. So you will see multiple charts by the parameter. Thank you for watching.